Wish you a very good evening, members of the jury, my dear friends. Big V Telecom is a company which is headquartered out of Nagpur in central India. As an organization, we deal with the voice as our raw material. That's the input which we work on. This candidature here is for innovation by using cloud computing technology in the field of VAS. That's the candidature that we are standing here for. Now we are here to present a vast product of ours which we call Matrutva, which is to do with maternal health care in rural areas, right? So we are working very closely with three governments, government of Chhattisgarh, government of Maharashtra and government of Tamil Nadu. More so with government of Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra in the last 6 months with this product called Matrutva. I'll just explain in brief as to what Matrutva is all about. Before we get into the basic product, a brief market scenario about the maternal health care in these domains is something which is generically known to all of us, but a few facts and figures which I would like to share, which actually led to the birth of Matrutva as our product. These are some figures given by World Health Organization. Only 47% of women in India have an institutional delivery and 53% had their births assisted by skilled birth attendant. These are figures given by UNICEF. Some more figures by UNICEF which talks about the maternal mortality ratio in rural India as on date. This again talks about the neonatal deaths and the DNC checks in the maternal health care. Those are exact figures again rendered by UNICEF, which says as high as 61% of maternal deaths were amongst Dalits and untouchables. As you remember, I would like to inform you that these figures are based on one specific pilot which UNICEF is doing in the tribal belt of Chhattisgarh, which is off Jabalpur. Now, what exactly is Matrutva as a product and how we are using cloud computing technology and using the voice packets on that backbone? Now, Matrutva, I'll just give you a brief. There's a concept of Asha workers in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, where they have kind of recruited women in district areas, in rural areas, who are kind of educated. They are not educated in the real sense of the term, but then okay, they understand mobile, they can understand, read messages, they can send messages, they can talk, they can send a voice message. Now these ASHA workers are voluntary workers who are recruited or who are identified and recruited by the district healthcare authorities, because the district healthcare authorities are not able to reach to the tribal belt. They are not able to run that last mile race as far as providing healthcare is concerned. So as of now, they expect the patients to come all the way to the district headquarters where the relevant doctors, technology and equipments are there to serve them. As we all know that this gap is huge and they are never able to fill this gap, and a lot of maternal deaths and a lot of neonatal deaths happen at the last mile end at the tribal in the tribal areas. Now what these ASHA workers are expected to do, even before Matrutva came in, they were expected to mobilize women who get pregnant and monitor their pregnancy right from day 1 till the 9th month, ensure that there is a free and safe delivery, and post delivery also 3 months they take care of the health of the baby and the mother. That's the structure which was already, which has been there in the market for close to 11 years now. Not very successful despite best efforts, because there is no backbone on which this entire communication pattern runs seamlessly. So today there is a problem for the pregnant woman. She informs the ASHA worker, but the ASHA worker is not able to inform the district authorities. Sometimes she is able to inform the district authorities, but the district authorities are not able to reciprocate because the message has not gone on time. Now that's the basic premise, that's the basic need on which Big V Telecom started working on as to how this voice could be taken to the right person at the right time, resulting into the right kind of maternal health care in the rural areas. That's the premise on which we started working. A hypothetical screen, what Matrutva does is it gives a particular number, that is Big V Telecom gives this particular number for a particular district. Let's say, we are in our discussion, let's keep district as a unit, although it could be done for the entire state, but let's keep district as a unit. So we give a particular number. Now here, the motto is to help and guide the uninformed mothers about their prenatal health, as well as to maintain direct coordination between mother and doctor for regular checkups and thereby reduce any risks of mortalities. That's the premise. Now this is a real picture of the ASHA workers. So that's how their level of literacy and their level of understanding. Now what Matrutva does is, we have a portal at the back end, okay, which is managed at the server end by Big V. We just give one number to the ASHA workers and also to the pregnant women, because we find that there is a dissemination of mobile handsets even in the tribal areas right till the last mile. Now whenever there is a need, now there are two kinds of communication which is happening. One is a bottom-up communication where the pregnant woman wants to interact with the doctor. That's a bottom-up communication. And another is a top-down communication where the doctor wants to communicate certain things which involves preventive maintenance, if I may use the word, as far as pregnancy is concerned. So let's say there's a 3rd month, baby is taking shape. There's a 7th month, stop eating this, don't eat this, take this medicine, do not eat this medicine, right? Drink boiled water. Straight from simple things like that to advanced things like don't use any drug which has a sulfur content in it, for example. Now these two communications, there was a need for a backbone where these two communications were handled seamlessly. Now when we give this number to the ASHA workers and to the patients at the last end, they call this number. Now this number lands on Big V Telecom server at the back end. When this lands on our server, there is an IVRS primarily to handle or to selectively route the call to the right person, right? So press, it's there in the vernacular. We are able to handle 11 vernaculars as of now. So it's in like, आपको अगर पेट में दर्द हो रही है तो एक दबाइए. So the person, the caller will press 1. So typically, those kind of complaints which do not require an expert online. So there are some complaints which requires an expert, like my maternal umbilical sac fluid has come out and I am bleeding. Now this is the kind of emergency where a physical interface between the doctor and the patient is required, where this backbone will not help. But there are a lot of informations which could be historical in nature and which are routine for us who are staying in urban areas, but again big rocket science for those people in tribal areas. So they call up, get the feedback on through this number, which is what we call a software-based call center, and this is how Matrutva works. So you have an IVRS control thing which lets you enter into the way-to-voice portal that we have at the back end, and these are some of the features that we have. You even have SMS alerts, so specific alerts which the doctor wants to give to the, you know, like there's an alert that do not eat papaya as a fruit because it is directly detrimental to pregnancy. It keeps on, these kind of alerts continuously keep on getting beamed to at the user's end and also at the ASHA worker's end. So those are SMS alerts which are standard. You also have automatic reminders that your next visit at the district hospital is at 2 p.m. on next Friday or on so and so date. Because earlier what was happening is this patients used to come all the way to the district hospital and they never used to get the right appointment. They will go all the way back because they didn't have the money to sustain for that day, so that they could stay over the next day. So appointments are set on this. You also receive voice calls with discipline guiding her about the diet she needs to follow, as I told you earlier. This is the kind of interface which is there at the back end, just a sample of the interface. As I told you, the cloud is the backend which allows this to happen, because in earlier days when cloud was not there, this could not be held because you had very dedicated IP addresses to take care of, and it could not have been disseminated across the area. This is important for us. It is network independent, so you could have any kind of signal happening in that area. We are not dependent on what kind of signal is there. As long as there is a signal to latch onto, you are able to go through. So this is what Matrutva is all about. This Matrutva product specifically is being done under the pilot of UNICEF right now. We are working on this specific pilot for the last almost 9 months. There are about 1948 ASHA workers who have been enrolled into this. For your information, Zuri members, there are in all about 6,000 odd ASHA workers in the state of Chhattisgarh who need to be ultimately enrolled into this. The pilot is almost more or less through. It has got the nod of UNICEF, wherein UNICEF is even trying to provide a very basic handset to all pregnant women through ASHA workers. They have their own logistics as to how to give the handset and how to take it back at the end of pregnancy, wherein they feel that once that hardware connectivity is provided at the last end, then the whole link is met. So this is what Matrutva is all about. About 6-7 months back, World Health Organization also got interested into it, and that is how we have now started doing a different kind of pilot, which is more to do with cardiology rather than maternal health care in the state of Tamil Nadu. This is all I had to say from my end. I will take your questions. So they are very vernacular based. Like if you're talking about Chhattisgarh, then there's a typical tribal kind of language which they use, and all the interface, the IVRAs and all the UDAs have been made in that language. As I told you, all our products, we have programmed them into about 11 vernaculars as of now in India, and we are working on more at the back end.
The communication between the pregnant lady and at the other end is between the doctor or medical expert and the lady, or where does the ASHA worker come in?
Okay. See, it's not an online communication that is happening. Let's say this is my pregnant woman and this is the doctor. And there's an ASHA worker in between, because a pregnant woman today doesn't have a handset necessarily. So ASHA worker is mapped back to let's say 100 pregnant women in that area. So those 100 women physically talk to the ASHA worker, communicate their issues, and now, as of now, the ASHA worker uploads that message to the doctor.
She knows that how to do that.
Hanji, yes.
She's the interface.
She's the interface as of now. As I told you that UNICEF is planning to give handsets to the patients now, right? So the moment those handsets are delivered down the line, then the interface which will link the uneducated tribal patient to the ASHA worker, because that's a new link which will come up now. Because today ASHA worker is mapped only to our 100-200 patients, which is in a vicinity of 4 to 5 kilometers radius. But now with this handset coming in, a new link will be formed where one ASHA worker will be able to cover, let's say, 100 kilometers or 50 kilometers, right? Because each ASHA worker also has an ambulance with her, so that she could physically transport the patient to the nearest district hospital in case of any emergency, right? So by these handsets coming at the last end, we will need less number of ASHA workers, and technology will take care of the communication. Probably ASHA worker will now have 5 ambulances instead of 1, 5 drivers instead of 1, and that's how the district government would be, the district hospital would be able to take care of a bigger area.
In that scenario, ASHA worker and this pregnant lady would be client and server sort of relation.
Yeah, client server is a very specific terminology used in networks, so I wouldn't say that it's a client server kind of thing. Since we are using cloud as the interface point, because client server works on IP protocol, and here we are not using an IP protocol, we are using a cloud computing protocol. But yes, generically in a layman's language you can say that that's a client and that's a server, but essentially technically there's a cloud which takes care of the interface. As I also told you about the cardiology, I'm sorry, I just wanted to, in this cardiology experiment that we are doing in the state of Tamil Nadu, there is a vendor who provides a hardware interface which when worn on the chest translates the echocardiogram of the heartbeats into the SIM card. Right? That interface is on. So today a patient comes, checks with the cardiologist once, gives him the full history. Subsequently, this hardware is costing around 3,000 rupees. Government is trying to scale it down further. So if the patient in a remote area can also upload his echocardiogram and the cardiologist could have a look at it through the cloud telephony model and advise the ASHA worker as to what is to be done next. Is it serious enough for the patient to come all the way to the hospital, or it could be handled with some kind of medication? So basically they are trying to empower the ASHA worker. They are not able to get as many doctors to reach out, so they are able to empower the ASHA worker that follow this as a doctor I am prescribing it. So that linkage is being maintained. Sorry sir, you were asking something.
Technically, once the patient also has a handset, the patient is in a position to directly communicate with the doctor as well.
Sure.
He does not necessarily have to communicate only with the ASHA worker.
Sure.
The ASHA worker is an interface because of proximity, as well as of the local knowledge. The fact that I'm an ASHA worker and I've got to know you and my patient, so there is a rapport which has been created. But technically, the patient can go directly to the doctor.
You're absolutely right, sir. The problem is not of technology, the problem is more of communication, because the people at the tribal end, they are not able to add words to their expression, and people like you and me are not able to understand their expression. So essentially the decoding is being done by the ASHA worker, because they talk in their own lingo, which is based on pet mein darad ho raha hai. Now pet mein darad ho raha hai, is it the upper abdomen, lower abdomen, is it related to some pulse, so many other things. So ASHA worker does that decoding.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.